Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask an Event Pro. This is Francisco. I'm product evangelist at Events.com, and joining us today, we've got Adam Ruppel. He's a co-founder of Mud Hero Events and also a mud obstacle expert. How are you, Adam?
I'm great. How are you, Francisco?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. Adam, we're going to jump right into it. We have a lightning round for you. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fantastic. Adam, what do you prefer, trail running or road running?
Trail running, no question. Where I live in Uxbridge, Canada, just north of Toronto, we've got actually trail capital of Canada, lots of trails, and it's just more fun.
Absolutely, I'd have to agree there with you. Electrolyte gel or drinks?
Drinks, I find the gel's a little too sweet, and also the containers are kind of messy to put in your pocket and that sort of thing. A lot of people throw them out in the ground too. So.
Yep, absolutely. What's your go-to running shoe?
I've got, I think for just regular trail running, I go with the Saucony, I guess you pronounce it that way, with the fairly aggressive trail running shoe. But actually, for our actual mud runs, when I pre-run those courses, I go with the Reebok one that I think Spartan Race designed with big treads on it, and it drains the water and that sort of thing, and then I can just rinse it off with a hose, and they're perfect after a mud run.
Awesome. And I got to ask you, I know that you are a mountain bike expert, so what's your go-to mountain bike?
I've got a Specialized Epic S-Works 29er, top of the line. Specialized actually sponsors some of the mountain bike events that I produce, and just a fabulous bike, and I think it's my 4th Epic. I get a new one every year.
Fantastic. So Adam, I have to assume probably has something to do with mountain biking, but I want to understand more how you got started with the endurance industry in general.
Actually, well, I was a long time ago. I was racing when I was started racing bikes when I was 14 years old. Raced road and mountain, eventually making it to national team B team squad for both mountain and road. And then I found my career was, I just decided that my career was coming to an end. I was hitting my ceiling, and so when I was 22, I started organizing mountain bike events. So we're talking just over 20 years ago, and then it kept evolving. And about 4 years ago, myself and my new business partner Ted McLeod decided to start Mud Hero. So.
Fantastic. So several years experience in both mountain biking and running. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to get your advice on some tips that you would give someone that's looking to put on an event series for the first time. What would that be?
So I think a lot of people go into it thinking that it's a way to make a lot of money. And while some people can, obviously making a profit's extremely important, but I think you've got to look at it from a passion standpoint and go out and check out the competitor events and figure out how to offer a unique experience, something that they aren't offering in your local market. And really think about finding that venue, finding the marketing, and finding the ability to put together like some unique features so that you can target a unique market. And be careful not to target markets that are extremely small. So you want to, obviously, if you're getting into it and you want to make it feasible, you've got to target a fairly broad audience.
Agreed. And we've actually had some really good hangouts in the past too, with some really interesting ideas that they had and unique way to approach a market. So we're right there with you, Adam. Now, for those that did make the leap already and that are putting on events, what are some mistakes that could happen on race day that people should be aware of?
From the organizer or from the participant standpoint?
Well, why don't we make it a little fun and we do a little bit of both?
Okay, so I think one of the big mistakes is underestimating. Especially if you're building an event for, let's say, 10,000 participants, underestimating the resources that are required for 10,000 participants. So the worst thing that you can do with an event is underestimate how many porta potties, how big your obstacles and wide your obstacles need to be, the parking situation, how many parking attendants you have, the different parking lots, how many buses you need to get people from one area to another if you're transporting between parking lots, and also estimating the time difference. So I see a lot of events making a really having trouble when you run one mass start of 10,000 people. It's a lot different than spreading 10,000 people over 2 days. So I think that's one of the mistakes people make is they build the event and they underestimate the resources required to meet it. And as well, a lot of events really underestimate the budget that kind of goes hand in hand with that, but the budget required to manage 10,000 participants. You know, you can put together an event for 1,000 participants and have a pretty low parking budget and a pretty low porta potty budget and a pretty low budget for hiring staff. But when you have it 10 times bigger, you've got to up those budgets significantly. And you can only figure that out with experience. So I would say, you know, very, very difficult to go from producing an event for 1,000 participants and then produce an event for 10,000. Better to produce an event for 1,000, then for 3,000, then for 6, and then for 10, and then for 20 or whatever after that.
Totally. Makes total sense. Now, Adam, what's a big difference between putting on a mud run versus putting on a mountain biking event?
Well, an obstacle run requires most of us that are in it and putting together sort of large-scale events with 20 obstacles, significant obstacles like big slides, big cargo climbs. We've got a big Kong obstacle. We've got a lot of mud pits that are massive and require a lot of digging. So we've got about a 5-day setup for about 10 people before the event, and then a 2-day cleanup for 10 people after the event. Where a mountain bike event, we can have a couple people set it up in 2 days and tear it down in half a day. So there's a massive difference in scale and size of those types of events.
Totally. And Adam, one last question for you. I'm not sure if you carry a bag with you on race day at all times, maybe a fanny pack or something like that.
No, I don't rock the fanny pack. No. You carry an event bag.
An event bag or a backpack maybe. What are 5 essentials that you always have with you on race day on this bag?
Okay. As an event organizer, I always have my checkbook. I always have a selfie stick because I also do a lot of the social media, that sort of thing. I also have a battery backup for my phone so that I can keep my phone charged. I always have some water and a snack with me so that I stay hydrated. That's a mistake that you make when you're organizing events. You forget to drink and eat. And I always carry a knife because a knife comes in handy for clipping zip ties and that sort of thing. And any kind of like obstacle issues that you have, a knife is handy always.
A knife is always handy, yeah, unless you're flying. Do not bring a knife if you're flying.
I made that mistake.
Yeah. Oh, you have?
Oh yeah, actually, my knife stays in my event bag, and I keep forgetting, and so I have to send it to myself. So my knife has been in the mail more than has been in the postage quite a bit actually.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, I'm hoping the audience comes up with some questions here. In any second, we may receive some, and I think we've got one. Do you feel there's a growing crossover between obstacle, traditional, and triathlon participation? Are traditional runners crossing over or vice versa?
I think there is a little bit in the traditional runners crossing over to obstacle events. But from the obstacle events that we produce anyways, I'm going to say 80% of the participants are doing it, or it might be their first event that they're doing, and 20% have done like 10Ks, half marathons, and that sort of thing. Between triathlon and obstacle running, there's a little bit of a transfer, but I think triathletes are a little bit of a different crowd than obstacle runners. Just a bit different.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would have to agree there with you as well. And just waiting to see. Thank you, Chris, for that question, and waiting to see if there's any more from the audience that are coming in. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for the audience. Adam, thank you so much for your time. You've been great. Some very valuable tips here for people looking to get started on event series management, or maybe some that have just gotten started. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck with the series, and hope to talk to you soon in the near future.
Thanks so much, Francisco.
You're very welcome, Adam. Have a great one.
Take care.
Thank you for watching, everyone.